Anyway, moving on to the last thing. I wanted to talk about this on the show. The Tracker TV show compared to the Never Game. That's what we're going to be doing here on the show. So, I have the Never Game book, and if you look there, the Tracker CBS show. So I read the book. It was a good book. I liked it. And now, in this video, we are going to be comparing and contrasting them. So the Tracker TV show is about a guy who makes money finding people. He has a lot of impressive tracking skills, and he has a vast knowledge of how nature and just survival works. He's very smart, and he finds people in the show. In the TV show, and the book has the same kind of plot, same guy. In the Tracker show, it goes episode by episode. So every episode, there's a new person that is lost, goes missing, gets kidnapped, and he has to find them. In the book, it's only one person. It's Colter Shaw. One person's missing, and the whole book goes through, and he has to try to rescue the person that has gone missing. Now, time to compare the two. So, the Never Game book, the main character is Colter Shaw. And I'll just give you some details. First thing is basically just the main plot. The main plot of the Never Game book is never shown in the TV show. The person who is in the book, who's missing in the book, isn't found in the show. Isn't in the show at all, actually. It's not even mentioned. Which I'm kind of disappointed, because the plot of the book is actually kind of interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything. Let's be real. I probably couldn't get away with it because, I guarantee you none of you have the attention span to read, but I'm not going to spoil it anyway. Whereas in the Tracker show, like I said, it just goes episode by episode. He's saving a new person every time. So that's the first main difference. Is the person in the book doesn't even appear in the show. In the book, Colter Shaw is under 6 feet tall. And in the Tracker show, Shaw is over 6 feet tall. The actor for Colter Shaw is like 6'3" or something like that. So, quite over the under 6 feet mark. And this is just a niche detail. In the Never Game book, Colter Shaw has a scar on his face and neck. And none of those are shown in the show. There's no makeup done or anything, which that would have been a neat detail, a neat nod to the book. But it's never mentioned, never shown in the show at all. Which not a big deal. Whatever. In the book, he's not a fighter. So, in the book, as you can imagine, this guy literally travels the country finding people. He has an RV, which in the show it's a truck with a camper behind it. But he literally drives around in an RV, and he intentionally tries to find people. So there's 3 book series I read. There's 2 book series I read. I read the Gray Man series, and I mainly read the Jack Reacher series. This guy is the literal opposite of Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher is kind of this guy who goes around, walking around the country, just like hanging out. Just walks around and stuff. And then he always runs into trouble. He's never trying to find it, he just runs into it. He just something happens, and he just happens to be there, wrong place at the wrong time. Whereas in the Jeffrey Deaver novel, The Never Game, Tracker's kind of going for it. He gets a call of people who go missing, and he's called into these jobs, and he goes. And Jack Reacher lives in hotels, and Colter Shaw, he lives in a camper or an RV, so it's kind of neat. One of the other differences between Colter Shaw and Jack Reacher is he's not a fighter. Colter Shaw is not a fighter at all. There's actually, in the beginning of the book, there's a fight scene. I said no spoilers, but this is the beginning of the book. A guy was like going to throw a Molotov at him, and he was like trying not to fight the guy. He was like negotiating with him, which is kind of neat. He's kind of like Dalton from Roadhouse, in a way. Reading the book, he reminded me a lot like Dalton. And in the show, it's kind of the same thing in the show. He's really not a fighter in the show. He'll defend himself if he has to, but very rarely does he like go at the fight. He doesn't like go out of his way to fight. Whereas like Jack Reacher, for example, he'll fight everybody, dude. He'll fight everybody. Everyone's getting hit. The chapters, I gotta say, in the book, very weird. Chapters are stupid short in this book. Which I just realized that's another comparison I can make to the Jack Reacher series, because the Jack Reacher books, the chapters are like super long. The books are like 500 pages, but there's only like 20 chapters in it. Where in this series, there's like a chapter every 3 pages. Let me see if I can find you an example. I'm just going to go on here. Let's see. Alright, so chapter 2 is on page 16. Chapter 3 is on page 22. Like these chapters are so short. And then chapter 4 is on page 28. It's literally a 6-page chapter. These chapters, I gotta say, they're ridiculously short in this book. Which, if you're into that, if you like just rapid, like, things going on, the book's probably for you. Which, it's a good book, I gotta say. It's well written. I like it. I might not get the rest of the series. I don't know. I might. Or might not. One thing I gotta say, this is just a niche thing for me, because I'm a gun guy. In the book, Colter Shaw uses a Glock 42. It's a 380, and it's like a 6-round magazine or something like that. Whereas in the show, he uses an M1911. In the book, it makes sense why he uses the Glock. It's small, it's compact, and it has some more punching power with the 380 round. Whereas it doesn't make a lot of sense of him using a 1911 in the show. The 1911 is just a well-known firearm. That's probably why they use it in the show. But things like that just kind of gets me. Because, like, you could have made Colter Shaw stand out by having him use this special gun. Like, you know, like John Wick has his special gun. James Bond has his special gun. Most of the action heroes have their, like, special sidearm. And here we have Colter Shaw in the book, who has his own special firearm that he uses, and they don't put it in the show. That's pretty disappointing in my opinion, actually. Thank you for watching all the way through the end. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, you can tune into my full show to watch all of my episodes early. And as always, God bless.